Hello and welcome back to All Things Trentside. I hope you're all well, guys. It's been a shorter than usual, the uploads, of course, now with football coming back, so I can finally get regular uploads. It's normally about a week interval, but I uploaded a match preview for the Sheffield Wednesday game on Friday, and now I'm here with our first ever match review on the channel. So yeah, we'll be talking about how Forest got on yesterday, of course. If you know the result, you know the result already, but we'll talk about how Forest reacted since the break, how they came back. It's a mixed bag, really, isn't it? And we'll get into that straight away, really. And that's, of course, Forest drew 1-1 at Hillsborough yesterday. Joe Lolly got a goal on the 69th minute before Connor Wickham equalised in the 3rd minute of stoppage time to deny Forest first win since lockdown finished, or was eased for football to come back, and their first win since Cardiff in February. But typical Forest, really, wasn't it? Wasn't a lot to say about the performance. We held our own, we played all right, but just couldn't quite get over the line in the end. And really gutting, because at the start of the game you would have probably taken a point, but to concede in the manner we did, it was felt like 2 points dropped really than 1 point gained, especially with what happened with Leeds today as well. But no, it was a really tough game for Forest. First of all, the team news, I said it in the preview that Sam Bassau and Ben Watson might be missing. They did train all week, but there was no sign of them in the team sheet. Ryan Yates and Brennan Johnson were there, probably the names on especially Brennan Johnson, definitely the name on the team sheet that I was surprised about. I knew Ryan Yates would be deputising for one of them. Thought if he was going to not play Watson because he couldn't, he was going to pick John Bostock or Semedo, but no, he went with Johnson. He had an okay game, very energetic. Sometimes Forest do lack a bit of pace in that team. You have to cash the wing backs and the wingers. Forest don't really have that much pace going forward. So yeah, he did provide that. Couldn't get himself involved too much. He did end up coming off as well. But you've seen worse debuts. I think he'll only grow up, give him a bit of confidence that, he's not afraid to select him. Sabri, he definitely will be involved in the matchday squad. And with us being allowed to make 5 substitutes now, he probably will get a run out in the future, 8 games that are coming up. But it's good to see that, another youth player coming through the academy. We've got a very good youth academy. Alex Might was on the bench, obviously Cash. So he played well in aspects, and hopefully, like I say, it'll push him on now and give him a bit of confidence he needed going forward to show that he will get chances in the league. But yeah, it was a disappointing team sheet. It was surprising to say the least. Having that spine ripped out the team. With, as I said on the match preview, and not having one is bad, but having 2 is just awful. I think that's the first game Ben Watson's missed this season. Thiago Silva, I don't know if he was deployed in the CDM role. He's not really a CDM type of player. He's more of the attacking flair. But it was good to see him back on the pitch as well. Of course, had the bit of bad luck with injuries before the break. But you don't really know what to make of it. How Forest were going to react. It seemed playing without the crowd didn't really affect him. I think Sheffield Wednesday played a lot more freely as well without having them, because they were in a tough run of form. They were missing a few of their players. Stephen Fletcher didn't start, one player that I thought would have caused Forest problems. But yeah, it was pretty average first half. Not many things happened. It was the second half that really things came into life. Forest at the lead. Matty Cash with a lovely through ball, linking up with Lolly, cut inside, lovely first touch, and put it past Wildsmith, the goalkeeper. And that looked like that was going to give Forest all 3 points, and especially with Brentford winning on the early kick-off, it looked like Forest needed just to put a gap between themselves and 7th, and to keep up with Brentford. We would have been joint 4th. Brentford got a better goal difference than us, but joint 4th, not too far off Fulham, and Fulham got a tricky few run of fixtures. So it's more now, if Forest want to go up the table, it's for a playoff advantage to have. Well, I don't know if there is an advantage with no fans at the moment, with home and second leg, but just so we're at home in the second leg. We had a few nervy moments, especially, I can't remember what minute it was in, but a cross was floated in. Samba made a bit of a meal of it. Sheffield Wednesday hit the post, and it looked like it was all going to be squared up. But Joe Worrell, it was a fantastic clearance. All in vain in the end, which is pretty gutting, but the clearance was superb. On the floor, looked like they were going to tap it in. He just lifted up his boot, got a block in, and saved a certain goal, almost as good as goal up the other end, as they say. But I say it was in vain. Forest, the 93rd minute, Sheffield Wednesday got a corner. It was poor defending, I think, though. You look at Figueiredo, had a decent season, but he really should be, He was unchallenged. Connor Wickham just headed it into the top corner. Samba had no chance. And that stopped Forest from getting their first win since, the Cardiff game, and their perfect start since lockdown. It was gutting. I think a lot of people, would have took a point at the start of the game. Forest, usually struggle against Sheffield Wednesday, can never really, get a win at Hillsborough either. So just to go there and get a point would have been good. But in the manner we did it, like if the ball had just dropped for someone on the volley and you can't really help that, or they've scored in the 78th minute and we've tried to get a win, it just wasn't happening, then you can say, okay, a point would have taken. But it was just in the manner and the timing it happened. If we don't concede the corner or we clear that, we then have to hold out for a few more minutes, and then it's a big 3 points. But luckily, a few teams around us did slip up. No, it depends where you look at it. If you see Derby as the playoff contenders or not, but they beat Millwall, who were just in that 7th spot, breathing down the neck of the 6th and 5th place in the league. Blackburn, it's to jump into 7th. It's so tight around there. Cardiff with their win today have been pushing up, so we have got a gap of 5 points though, which it's not bad to say the least. 5 point gap with 8 games to go, especially with the run of fixtures next week. I think seen earlier, West Brom play, is it Brentford, I believe. Fulham, Leeds play each other, and Preston play, I think, Cardiff. So there is a few big games in there, and I'm not too sure exactly who's playing who. I'll have to look up that later, and I'll talk about it more in depth in the preview for the Huddersfield game. But I know there's a few teams around us that will be dropping points, so Forest really do need to get a result next week, especially against a struggling Huddersfield side, a Huddersfield side that lost yesterday. So yeah, I'll talk about that more in my preview, but Forest really would have been in such a good position. But if you get the points against Huddersfield, 4 points from your opening 6 games on the back of a 3-month break, you would have taken it. It is a huge game for Forest next week. In regards to having no crowd there, I don't think that really fazed a lot of people. There was only one home win in the Championship on the Saturday, but I don't know whether or not that says a lot about if away teams are going to play without no fear because they've not got no home fans on their back. But no, Forest did okay. It was just nice to see them back on the pitch. I think everyone can agree with that. With all the negativity that's happening in the world at the minute, it was nice to go on the NFFC timeline and see actual negativity about football for a change. Not a lot changes, does it, in Forest when you go on the timeline, you see that have a team selection. I think it was Paul Taylor who tweeted, it's so nice to have football back because everyone's moaning about the team. But yeah, it was unfortunate. I think the team sheet from the start really did, not do us any favours, losing the 2 probably creative midfielders. Not creative, sorry, the 2 anchor in the midfield. Having our creative midfielder playing in that role when he should really be further up the pitch was a shame. But no, I keep saying it's a good point. I wasn't saying that yesterday. Now I've had time to reflect, and you've seen the other results. It does look like we could really, do with a win next week just to put a gap with everyone playing each other. The remaining fixtures, people have still got to play each other around there. So if we just keep doing our thing, then we should be okay. But I think we do need to create more going forward. I think Graben again looked really starved of opportunities. He worked his socks off again, which we get with Graben now. I think we didn't see that side to him last season, but now he's brought that into his game. He chases defenders down, he runs for everything. Sometimes he's the winger and allows Amiobi to go into the centre. So it's good to see that he was captain as well, which I was very surprised about that. He was made captain, which was a strange decision. I think it was in the cup game against Derby. Worrell was the captain, so I thought Joe Worrell would have took the armband, but Lamucci went with Graben. I always find it weird when strikers are captains because they're not in the business end of the pitch. They're normally on the halfway line, but maybe give him a bit of confidence. Showing that he is the main man because of course Nuno da Costa's come back from injury now and he can start playing. Tyler Walker's in the frame also. I think we'd always go with Graben, but it's just to show him that you are our go-to man and always will be. But yeah, Forest are back. It was good to see, just to watch him. And after one game, the disappointment was still there. It's not easy supporting Forest, especially it looked so comfortable. And it was also annoying how we made a sub and we didn't bring on Dawson. He would have been perfect in that situation, just to short up the defence, head the balls away. He just sat on the bench. He was made for them situations. But you see it normally games when managers are closing out the victory and the home side are coming onto him. Just bring on the extra centre half, shore it up, get the points. But in Sabri we trust, and actually that brings me on to the point that I uploaded at the wrong time on Friday, is that Lamucci has signed a new deal. So the news that I brought you, I think it was my first ever podcast we spoke about, or the second, that he was meant to be signing a new deal. Kind of went a bit all quiet on that front, but no, he has signed now. We believe it's a 2-year deal with an option of a third. So first manager to sign a contract since a contract extension since Billy Davis, and to last the season since Billy Davis. So it's great to see that we're finally getting a little bit of, not saying normality, but we're actually going to finish the season with one manager. He's a good manager. The way he speaks about Forest, he's very passionate about the way he says he loves it here. He's turned us into a team that probably at the start of the season not many people would have had down as playoff contenders. Because he hasn't really spent the money as Karanka did. We was expected to be up there last season, but the season that we had, Jack Colback going back, not getting him back, it looked like it was going to be another double season for Forest. But he's managed to get a team that looks like they love playing together. And Forest haven't had that for a while. He's turned Matty Cash into the best right back in the league. He's done so much for the club. He's brought the fan base back together. He can't please everyone. Obviously, with his team selection, people were still moaning that Ryan Yates was getting a game, but it's nice that Sabri is staying, and hopefully that he'll be the man to lead us into the Premier League. I think it's fitting now. He's got a job now, and hopefully he can finish it. And he was disappointed yesterday, and I think any manager would have been, but it's about how he rallies the troops now and gets us ready for the next game, which will be played next Sunday live on Sky Sports at 2:15. We will be playing Huddersfield. So it's the first game back at the City Ground since the 3-0 loss to Millwall before lockdown as well. But be interesting to see how Forest react to that when there are no fans, and especially after the manner that we conceded yesterday. It's going to be interesting going forward. I'll talk about more in my preview for the Huddersfield game about that. But Forest are back, which we all love to see. Sabri's staying. We've got reasons to be positive, especially with the fixture list next week as well. It's going to be interesting how we move forward with this lockdown, with it the new norm. But points better than nothing. You think you win your home games, draw your away games, you'll be all right. And that really epitomised that yesterday for Forest. At the manner we did, it is gutting. But I say if we win next week, we get 4 points out of 6. You're taking that when it was announced that football was going to come back. So it was a tricky place to go for Forest, not won there in 6 years. We have stopped a kind of a bad run against Wednesday. It's the first draw in at least 10 games that we've got, not lost to them, stopped the lead double. And it did feel like a loss the way it happened, but it wasn't a loss. It's a point gained. It's a point further to securing that playoff spot. And who knows, we could look at that back at the season and say that was a valuable point going forward. But yeah, guys, that's really my match review. I don't really have a lot more to say. It wasn't really a big goal fest, or too many things happened apart from the 2 goals really. Very cagey affair. I think both sides were just cautious in approach, especially the form we was in going into it, and obviously lockdown. You can see that with a lot of teams. It's been lethargical starts, but it's just good to see us back on the pitch, and hopefully we will continue to improve. So I think there's a lot we haven't seen from this team going forward. So get a few more wins under our belts and secure that playoff spot. It could be a magical season. It's a bit of a dampener the way things happened and how things have started, but just to have Forest back on a Saturday and football altogether is always nice. But we'll take the positives more rather than the negatives, and we move forward. We're in a great position, and hopefully, I say we'll be looking back at the start of the season saying that point was vital, or it helped us kick on and get the results we needed to secure a playoff spot. But yeah, guys, thanks for listening. Again, it's a bit shorter one. Normally my videos are a lot longer, but with only match reviews and not really a lot to talk about, we can just say what went on during the game, give my opinion, and then go from there. But yeah, as always, it's been great talking to you. Thanks for listening. If you give it a subscribe, follow us on social media. We're always posting. I see Instagram following's getting a little bit bigger, so I appreciate that. Any suggestions you want for any videos you think what could be improved, any constructive criticism that I can take going forward, I'd really appreciate it. I am thinking of maybe adding a guest on the channel. I don't know if you lot would like to see that, having someone to bounce off, maybe have a bit of banter with, who also a Forest fan, rather than just me talking myself. Yeah, so let me know if you'd like to hear that or anything like that, or you just prefer just hearing my voice. I mean, not a lot of people say they just want to hear my voice, so I'll be very surprised if you do. But no, in all seriousness, that is an idea I'm going to explore. But if you'd like to hear it, like I say, let me know. Get in contact with me on Twitter, Instagram. I'm always looking to adapt this channel. But yeah, we have got Forest back, and in true Forest fashion, they did let us down a little bit when we only conceded a 90th minute equaliser to Sheffield Wednesday. But you always knew it was going to happen like that. It was never going to be plain sailing when Forest are involved. But yeah, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the match review. As always, I hope you're staying safe. I will be back, I think, next Friday. My upload for the Huddersfield game, the preview for that will be up. But yeah, guys, I'll talk to you in a while. Stay safe. Come on, you Reds.